said, we are super excited to be here with you all. And today's workshop is going to be 90 minutes. We are going to do a part of the Minecraft 101 course just to get you started and give you a good feel for Minecraft. And then we're really going to spend some time talking through the Battle of the Boroughs challenge for you all and some of the things that you may encounter in assisting your students with this challenge. So feel free as we go through to put any questions that you have in the chat. Both Susie and I and Sean and Jose are going to be happy to assist you and are happy for questions in the chat as we go through. You will need to download Minecraft for yourself and your students. And Sean or Jose, do you want to share the specifics about that for New York City?
I mean, in terms of installation about devices, or we're talking about where they'll find the world?
Where they install it, like just to get the installation.
Go ahead, Mike. You're
in the chat. I just put something in the chat. It's their info hub page for all New York City teachers. Basically, depending upon your device, there's a different process. Most of the time for Chromebooks, it's as simple as having the extension installed. For iPads, they should already be on that system. For Windows and Mac devices, you have to file a ticket with the serial numbers of your devices, and they'll be installed usually within 2 to 4 days. All of that process is completed. So having that done ahead of time is always a benefit. So if you do want to do that, it's having a ticket put in with the devices, and the serial of those devices will have them installed. That link I put in the chat walks you through each individual device type and how to install it appropriately on your system.
Fantastic. Thank you, Michael.
You got it.
So we're going to, because there are too many of us for each of us to individually come off of mute and introduce ourselves, or we would take a chunk of our time. If you will, in the chat, introduce yourself, share which school or location that you are from, and give us from a 1 to a 10 how ready you are right now to use Minecraft in your classroom. And I'll give y'all a few minutes to type that in the chat. These are some good numbers. I like seeing numbers like this. That makes me very excited. Excellent. Eric's teaching coding in Minecraft right now. That is one of my favorite things to do in Minecraft because of all of the neat things that students can come up with. Depending on your setup for the workshop, you may want to have 2 screens, but know that that's not a requirement for today because a lot of today is going through stuff that you can watch on your screen. So that is something that if you want to do, that is an option. But you don't know who we are. So I thought we would take a moment to share who we are. I am Mary Hoffmeister. You can follow me on Twitter at the Mary Hoff. And yes, my name is Mary, like Merry Christmas. I was not born in December. I always joke that my mother had a really great sense of humor. And I am an NCCE professional learning specialist. In my day job, I am an instructional technology specialist for the Cherokee County School District, which is just north of Atlanta, Georgia. You probably hear that a little bit in my voice. I always know that when I am presenting to folks in other parts of the country, they're like, oh, you are not from around here. And I do say y'all a lot, and I'll apologize in advance. I never realized how often I said y'all until I spent 6 months in New Zealand on a Fulbright, and they looked at me like I had 6 heads every time I said it. And Susie, I'll let you introduce yourself.
Thanks, Mary. Hey, everybody. My name is Susie. I work at the Minecraft education team at Mojang Studios. So Minecraft education is a team of, probably around 25 people that's part of the larger Minecraft franchise. think there are like 400 people who work on Microsoft's main campus at Minecraft. So there are a lot of us. Our education team is small and mighty, and I have the pleasure of working with customers around the world and helping teachers learn how to use Minecraft as a teaching and learning tool. And I have been working with the DOE for my last 5 years. I've been on this team, and this is the second year that we've done Battle of the Boroughs. I helped lead it the first time, and I'm really, really excited to kind of bring it to life with in-person rounds this year. And the team from the DOE who's been leading this is incredible. And we are so excited that you're interested in participating and bringing this program to your students. And I am happy to hang out with you all today as we go through some of this training. And I'll be hanging out in the chat too, helping Mary answer any questions in there. But yeah, super happy to be here. Love getting to work with everyone at the DOE. Super stoked about Battle of the Boroughs. Coney Island Creek is my background right now. I can drop some files in the chat. Mary, I forgot to send you a background picture. Maybe I'll do that so we can get it uploaded later. But yeah, anyway, happy to be here. Thanks for having me.
If you are a Twitter person and you want to tweet at Minecraft or any of our other hashtags and ats on the screen, please feel free to do so and share your excitement about Battle of the Boroughs or just with being here in general. We do have some support from the DOE on the call as well. We've got Michael, who spoke to you about installation. Jose is on, and Sean is on. Arnold is also on as well. So you've got a lot of people here that are just here to help you and help you use this with your students. So please, as I said before, feel free to ask any questions that you have in the chat. We want to address those and can be very flexible with what your questions and your needs are. If you have not participated in a lot of Teams meetings, here are just some features that will help you in terms of particularly muting and unmuting your microphone and turning on and off your camera. It is not a requirement that your camera be on for this training, and it's not going to bother any of us if it is, but know that you do have the ability to turn your camera off by using that camera button. And you have the chat, which is the chat bubble option as well. It is generally helpful if you are not speaking, if you keep your microphone muted, but for your video, that is your choice. I know we heard from some folks early on as we were getting started that you were commuting, and so it may be easier to keep your camera off for that because of just bandwidth and internet speed, but that is completely up to you. I don't have a preference one way or the other. Our agenda for today is really kind of three big components. We're going to get familiar with Minecraft Education Edition and get you to a point where you are comfortable helping your students troubleshoot and potentially teach a lesson with it in your classroom outside of the Battle of the Boroughs challenge. You're going to experience a house challenge on a small scale so that you can see how that might be used in a classroom. And then we're really going to focus in on your Battle of the Boroughs and the steps and the directions that you need to help your students with that. So that's kind of our goal for this session. A lot of the modeling that we're going to go through today in this session is going to follow an I do, we do, you do. So we will demonstrate, then we will all get a chance to go in together with us walking through the steps that you are going to do, and then you will get the opportunity to practice it on your own. Because of our time constraints today, some of those may be shortened a little because we want to make sure that we really are focusing on the Battle of the Boroughs for you. So just know that some of those things I will share. I'll say, okay, I would have given students more time for this, but this is kind of how we're running this for this session. I do have a little introductory video on Minecraft that we are going to watch. So I'm going to give you my sound and let's take a look at this.
We are born learners. We crave new challenges and new adventures. Our creativity is limitless. And when we learn through play, amazing, often unexpected things happen. In schools and in homes around the world, students are using Minecraft to build cities, explore coral reefs, to create with code, run science experiments, and to tell fantastic stories. Minecraft has always been about exploration and discovery, bringing together a global community of co-creators. Now, the next generation of engineers, biologists, and designers are inspiring us with their creations. Minecraft Education Edition empowers learners to solve problems they care about, to connect in new ways far beyond the classroom, and to build a better world through the power of play.
So, Minecraft Education Edition is absolutely a tool for teaching and learning. And it prepares students for the future, preparing them to be future ready by building skills like creativity, problem solving, systems thinking, and it nurtures a passion for play, which a lot of our students miss in our current, way that we focus on just all of the pieces of education, but it's more than a game. But Minecraft is one of the most popular games in the world and is the best-selling video game of all time. And that's always something that I like to share because even if you don't feel comfortable with it, your students will. It is for all learners, and one of the things that Minecraft has done in an amazing fashion is added some pretty spectacular accessibility settings that you can find in the settings of Minecraft. An immersive reader is built right into the game, so students can interact with content even if they are struggling to access it through reading. Um, the Game-based learning with Minecraft helps students of all ages. It develops their social emotional development and their STEAM learning. Um, it helps. Sorry, bleh. Let me try that again. When we look at Minecraft education, we are really able to focus in on the learning piece of game-based instruction. And because Minecraft has been designed, education has been designed specifically for classroom use, it has the security, it has assessment built in, it has standards aligned content, and all of those pieces help to make it such a fantastic tool for teaching and learning in the classroom. Minecraft Education has revamped their professional development pathway in a way that makes it easier for you to go through the modules and the tools that fit you best. So if you are looking at using Minecraft just as a classroom tool, you can start with a class like this, Minecraft 101. There's also a 201, a 301, and now just released a 401. And there are specific pathways for computer science and other activities that you can do with students. So we're going to give you some opportunities for these courses at the end of the session, but I do want you to know that your journey doesn't have to stop with this training, and there are a lot of other options for you in Minecraft moving forward. Again, this is the course progression pathway. We are kind of in this 101 path where we're going to look at building, but we're going to look at some components of 201 in terms of multiplayer so that you can help support your students in the Battle of the Boroughs and the multiplayer pieces that you're going to need there. So we are going to look at logging in. When you log into Minecraft Education Edition, and I'm going to flop to Minecraft for just a second here so that we can take a look at what that looks like. When we go into Minecraft, and it loves to run with teams concurrently all the time, you will get a login screen that looks like this. Mine's going to pop on my other screen, so I'm going to slide it over here. In this sign-in box, you and your students will both enter your full NYC DOE email address in that login bar. So that is how you will log in, and it will be the same password that you use for single sign-on for everything else that you do. Once you are signed in to Minecraft, that's when you can do things like customize your skin. And we're going to take a look at that here in just a moment. I'm going to get mine logged back in since I have signed out. And then you're going to get the opportunity to change your skin. To change your skin, I'm going to play this video so that you can see that. So you'll notice once it's signed in, they're going to select the hanger button in the bottom right-hand corner. And when they select that hanger button, they get to choose from multiple different skins or ways that your character will look. There are a lot of default skin packs with a variety of different looks and outfits, and even some historical context and different things that you can choose from. So, that is one of the first things that I will say students like to do initially because they want to make their character themselves. They want to make their player representative of who they are. So that is one of the first steps that we would take when we look at that. We're going to hop into Minecraft and we are going to do a build a house challenge. So we're going to start with this as if you are the students and we are teaching you and what this would look like doing it in a classroom. So the spiral that we are taking, because we are in the 101 section, is we're all going to be in our own world. So you're not going to have to worry about joining together. When I would do this challenge with students, I always like to have a rubric in Minecraft. And you know that your Battle of the Boroughs challenge has a rubric as well. And that's why that's so important, because it gives students an idea of what they need to do to complete the lesson or do the task as you would wish for them to do. So in this case, it would be a very simple rubric of if you have 4 walls and a roof, you have 3 points. You get an additional point for using at least 2 different building materials. And if you submit a screenshot, you get 1 point. So it's a 5-point rubric, super simple. And it's okay for those rubrics that you use in Minecraft to be simple like that. So as we look into Minecraft, I'm going to take you through a portion of the tasks and then you will have a chance to follow along. When I do this with students, a lot of the time when I am demoing, I have to tell them laptops down and have them close the lid of the laptop or move the laptop so that they are not tempted, because if Minecraft is up, our friends are going to be tempted to get in and build sometimes. And that piece of classroom management, that simple piece of, okay, just close the lid of your laptop, or even in like an elementary classroom, move to the carpet so that we are, we're away from that temptation, can help a lot, because then they get the full demonstration. They don't get stuck, and it helps them not need as much assistance during the build portion when they're super excited and want to participate in it. So as we get started with that, I'm going to walk through the demonstration and you're going to watch as we walk slowly through it. Then you're going to get the opportunity to do it as a we do. So our computer screens are down, and this is our demo of how it would go through. And I'm going to talk through this demo video as you see on the screen. So when we enter the world for the house building challenge, the first thing we're confronted with is this NPC. And he says, welcome, right click on me. So once we are ready and we move forward, we click on him and he's going to give us further directions. Those directions are going to say, welcome to the house build challenge, and then you choose your destination. So because we are doing the individual training, we would hit let's go. And then once we hit let's go, it's going to give us the choice of single player or one of the 2 multiplayers. We're going to select the single player option, which is to build a house in our own individual world. When we select that, we are greeted with another NPC who is going to give us further directions for this individual challenge. They're going to welcome us to the house build challenge, give us the directions, which are what we talked about on the rubric, and then give some simple directions for students that are just getting started in Minecraft. So it's going to give you directions to press E to open the inventory and how you would move things from the inventory onto your bar, and then how you would place bricks and how you would break blocks. So as we go through that process, that's our basic directions for building a house. So when we say I'm ready, now we can go behind that NPC or non-player character and begin to build our house. You can see that by pressing E, which I always say to students is E is for everything, and that's how I get all of my tools. When I select E, I get all of the building blocks that are available in Minecraft Education, and I can pick them. And once I find the block that I want to build with, I can drag it down onto the hotbar, which is the bar that contains my building materials that I have selected. I can also hit control and the number to have things go a little faster down on that bar. But a lot of people just do it manually, like is being done here in this demonstration. So I drag the items down. So you can see 2 sets of stairs, some bricks, and now some oak planks. So I've got enough materials, and every house needs a door. So I'm going to pop a door down, and I'm going to throw a trap door down there as well. And then once I have selected all of my materials, I can go back out, and this is where I can begin to build. The way that this world is set up, I can only build on that granite pad. So I am placing my blocks by using the right click. One of the things that I love is a new feature in Minecraft Education. It's a newer feature. It's been around a little while now. Is that as you are getting started, you have this controller guide on the screen that reminds you of which buttons to use. If you are familiar with computer gaming and have participated in computer gaming in any way, the controls look very familiar. That WASD to move, having the mouse and the keyboard together. But for folks that were not computer gamers prior to introducing Minecraft to their students, those things are a little bit more difficult to remember. So I love that it has that on-screen keyboard guide to help you. You can see that, we're building this house, and we're going to shift to a different material here in a moment. When we look at building a house in Minecraft, depending on which scale we use, typically we're going to go at least 3 blocks up because the door is 2 blocks, and you want a brick above that for clearance purposes. And you'll see that that's happening here. As we go through the rest of the challenge, we've got this area to build in, and we continue to go through that. I am going to fast forward us just a little bit so you can see that now we're putting down the floor on the inside because they've destroyed part of the granite on the bottom. And as we go even further, you'll see that this builder gets to the point that they are adding windows into holes in the wall so that they have that additional look. So you can customize and make Minecraft whatever you want it to be. Leslie, that is an excellent question. Yes, they can use Code Builder to build the house. And we'll look at some Code Builder things when we go into the Battle of the Boroughs world for you all, because absolutely, Code Builder is a fantastic option. So now we're going to dive in, and this is where if you have Minecraft installed and you are ready to follow along, we're going to take that opportunity to do that now. So I am going to switch back to Minecraft here for us, and I am going to log in here. This account. So,
Mary, while you're getting logged in there was a question in the chat about iPad. We are definitely on iPad. Michael says that the iPads should have Minecraft on them if they're managed by the DOE. And then I also put a picture in the chat. We have really nice how to play tutorials. These are great for you if you don't know how to play Minecraft, or your students. And there are actually touch specific tutorials. So you'll see right there, that picture, that middle icon, it says Start Here Touch. That will help you learn how to use all of the controls, whether you're on an iPad or just another touch device. So those are really, really helpful for you or your students, probably more for students who are using iPad that have never played Minecraft before.
I will also add to that the touch tutorials are really fantastic for students that are using touchscreen computers and prefer that method. I have always been surprised at how many students, if they have a touchscreen Chromebook or computer, even if it's not in a tablet, so to speak, they prefer to use the touchscreen controls, and that tutorial really does help them as well. So once we are in Minecraft education, when we go to play, in the view library, this world already exists for us with the houses. So we're going to select view library. We're going to select starter worlds, and we're going to select build plates. And once we're in the build plates, and actually that is not the right place, and my brain is not working today. I am so very sorry. We do not select starter worlds. We select subject kits. Sorry, friends. I've done this a million times and then just totally blanked on that one. So once we are in subject kits, we go in to our it's not subject kits either. Sweet goodness gracious, I am apologizing. Sorry about that. We are going to actually select in the same area where we would get those tutorials. We are going to go in and select how to play. And under how to play, you'll see that here is the keyboard tutorial that walks through the controls using the keyboard. The touch tutorial walks in through those touch controls, particularly for tablets and iPads. And then additional tutorials will go into that. And then you'll see this build a simple sample house tutorial. And when we go into that build a simple house tutorial, this is where we get the option to create our world and go into it. So when we do that, we're going to select create world. So I'm going to walk us through that one more time without the misstep. So when we start on the home screen for Minecraft Education, we select play. Once we are in play, we select view library. Then we select how to play. Once we are in how to play, we're going to select additional tutorials. And in that additional tutorials, we'll find that build a simple house. And to our coding question, if you have not done anything with the code builder tutorial is also an excellent way to get started with coding. But we're going to go in to build a simple house and we're going to hit create world.
Mary, that was a great way to walk through all the different parts of the library, though.
I know, right? Who knew? We were going to take a tour of the whole library there.
There's lots of good stuff in there.
It really is. So when we go in, and I will say the caveat that we are all running teams in Minecraft together, and both of those things, even on computers with really great processors, can be a little slow. So keep that in mind. It's not going to be this slow if you're not running teams concurrently, but it does take a little bit longer for things to load when we're doing that. So it's going to load up. And then once it loads up, we'll hop in and get started with our house challenge. As we go into the world, we're going to talk to that NPC, that non-player character initially, which says hello. It's even telling what I'm saying. That's hilarious. So non-player characters become something that are very key when we are building worlds in Minecraft and when we're working with students. And when we go into the Battle of the Boroughs, you'll see some non-player characters with familiar names. So we go in here and we talk to our first character. And remember, he gives us those initial directions and we can say, let's go. I am going to take a moment to point out for those of you that may not be familiar, right here is the immersive reader. And if I were to select that, it would actually read aloud the text from this character to me so that I can see and hear what he is reading to me. So I'm going to say, let's go. And then we're going to continue along our little pathway. And remember, we're going to start with this single player button. So to select the single player button, you'll see how my cursor changes when I go over it. And now it's saying, okay, if I right click, then I can use the button. I can press the button here. We're doing the single player, build a house in your own individual world. So we select that. And then it's going to warp me essentially to this space where we are encountering that second non-player character. And when we talk to this character, they're saying we're going to build a house with 4 walls, a roof, and a door. We need to use 2 types of blocks to do that at least. And then it's going to remind us of all of the buttons that we can do. So I'm going to say I'm ready. I'm going to move forward and I'm going to be on my build plate here. Now, the first thing I need to do, because I don't have anything on my bar, so I can't build anything yet, the first thing I need to do is select the button E. E, like I said before, stands for everything, and E will open up our inventory. So when I select E, I get all of these choices. Now, for some of you, you may have been in Minecraft at some different point, and it may be narrowed down. So I can filter by building materials. I can filter by weapons and armor and food and those types of tools. I can filter by decorative items and landscape items, but I tend to be I want to see everything at once. So I always keep mine on the magnifying glass that shows everything or all, and also allows me to search. So if I know that I want to use acacia wood, I can search for acacia and get everything that's made out of acacia in the library. But I'm going to just choose based on looks right now and pick a couple of blocks. So I'm going to do some sort of funky little house with these crimson planks and the warped planks because, why not? So I'm going to pick those two. And then I'm also going to go ahead because you always need a front door, right? So I'm going to pick a door. And I'm going to go ahead and get some glass so that I can put some windows into my house. So I've got all of these things selected. So I feel like I'm kind of ready to start building. And then I exit out of my inventory. Once I exit out of the inventory, I can go here and start building. So I'm going to start with my teal warped planks and just start placing them in a row. So as you are going through and doing that, I'm going to let you, those of you that are following along and building, continue to build. And I do see that we've got some questions in the chat. So Jeff is saying, my students tell me for them to join. So Jeff, are you trying to have them join? Yeah, we'll talk about that when we talk about multiplayer, because that's a little bit different. But because right now we're looking at that individual player situation. But as we go through and build, you'll see that it's starting to take shape and we start to get a building that resembles some sort of a house. I am this. Do we have any other questions about that individual build piece and getting started from there?
Roberto, did you get your way back to the right build plate for your house challenge? Are you all good?
Come on, Rob, we're waiting on you.
Mary,
That's
Mary,
all right.
you may want to tell them about what happens when they destroy the floor, because they're going to do that.
Yes.
They're absolutely going to do that 100%. How that's
I
going to work when they
usually
destroy
do
the
it.
ground.
I'm actually really impressed that I haven't yet because it always happens. So you'll notice that when I start destroying the floor, I get down to this block here. And that is a special block that in my current mode, I can't do anything with. But let's say I accidentally deleted all of those and I want that to still be my floor. I can find that block again, there again, by going into my inventory by selecting E. And sometimes it's a fun guessing game of, what was that block that I destroyed, right? In this case, we know that it is a slab. And where did it go? Not slab, it's a gravel. So we've got concrete powder, which is not what we were using there, but we do have here stone. And that's what we want to select to put back in. When I select my that's not the stone. It's not stone. I lied.
But Mike, you may be talking about blocks of grass. Blocks of grass is one of our most popular used worlds, and it was 3 layers deep before you dropped off into the sky and fell through the other side of the world. But you will know that we launched a beta 2 days ago, and the
Yes.
new blocks of grass will not be able to fall through the floor. So you just wait for that update, because that's not going to happen in training anymore.
That will be fantastic.
I just think it's also good for them to realize that if you're gonna eventually destroy something you didn't mean to destroy, and how to go through and put it back, because that's going to happen for sure.
I notoriously, when I am building a world, destroy my NPCs every
Yes.
time. I'm like, well, that should have been a right click, and that's unfortunate. But there is, and that does bring up a really great point. There is no undo button in Minecraft. And as much as we all want it, there's not an undo button. So you have to be prepared to rebuild or build back anything that might potentially get destroyed. It is why later in this training, we're going to talk about the importance, especially on your student builds, of having regular backups. That can be really important because, if you lose a day of work, that's not going to lead to the same level of frustration as a student losing a week of work because somebody has poured lava all over it, which is the worst thing you can do in Minecraft, right? It's pretty horrible. But as we go through and build, you kind of see how that works and what that looks like. If we were doing the traditional Minecraft 101 challenge, we would then release you to build your own right here. But because we want to spend some quality time looking at other pieces of Minecraft, we are going to kind of skip ahead here and look at some other pieces within Minecraft. And I did see that someone asked about the slide deck in chat. I will share that in chat with you at the end so that you can have a copy of it. And then that will give you all of these videos and all of those pieces of things that will be helpful, including actually these navigating basics things that I have used in posters in classrooms and find them to be really helpful, like the one that you see here, to kind of give some directions. The keyboard commands document is super helpful as well, for students that are using keyboards and mice. I will say I am a have a mouse with me kind of girl when I use Minecraft. I don't like doing it on a touchpad, but there are some folks that they can work with that either way. So, and then you'll have these videos for navigating basics and all of that we kind of showed you as we talked through, but you will have this slide deck to refer to. So what we would do next is I would say, okay, now's your challenge. You've got 15 minutes to build. You're going to take those 15 minutes and you are going to build your own house in that time. But like I said, we are going to skip through that. We would typically reflect on this and share what we were doing. The one thing that I do want to show you is the ways that you can document what you have made in Minecraft. One of the easiest ways, and a lot of people will do this, is they'll use their print screen on their keyboard, or capture your screen using Google Chrome shortcuts or whatever. But what I really love is if I press the E and I search for the camera, I get this handy dandy little camera that I can use a couple of ways. I can place it like an old-fashioned camera and take a picture of myself. It's like, the first selfie. But I can also then take this camera and use it just like I would another camera and take a picture. So I right click, and that gives me a way to document what I have built or what students are doing in their challenge. So know that that camera does exist and becomes a really great tool for students that are interested in doing something and documenting what they are doing. And I did not mean to say from beginning. Let me fix that. Sorry about that. Skip down a bit. We're going to go right here. When we talk about how do students get work to you, usually the easiest way is through your learning management system. So I know a lot of you use Google Classroom, but I think, Michael, there's some variety depending on which school site they are at, correct? And what LMS they use. So I know in our school district, we use Canvas, but all of the LMSs, Teams, Google Classroom, any of them that you use, you would be able to share the world link to students in that. You can also share them in a OneDrive. I see Roberto asked, where does the picture go when I do that? And let's go take a look at that. So when I took that picture, it went into something called our portfolio, which is another item here in our inventory. And when I select the portfolio, all of the pictures I have taken are here. You'll notice that I have the ability to add captions, and then I can download the picture if I wanted to do that, and not download, but I can get the picture so that I have it in my hand. But even better than that, there's a handy dandy button right here called Export Portfolio. Export Portfolio is going to allow me to have a PDF created of all of the images that I have taken that I can then save on my computer, and I can upload those from there. So that gives a PDF file, which of course is device friendly for all of our devices, iPads, Chromebooks, Windows devices, it doesn't matter. So the other option that we have, which I actually prefer because I like to have the ability to write a little more, is there is a book and quill. The book and quill has a feather pen. That's the quill part, right? And if I drop the book and quill down here on my inventory, when I exit out, if I right click on this, you'll see that it starts blank because I can enter as much text as I want. But then I also have the ability here, when I select that pencil, to add those pictures. And all of the pictures that I've taken are here in my portfolio for the option. So I'm able to click here and go with that. So I see that Christoph's asking, with a keyboard or touchscreen, how can it be done? So on your touch pad, on your mouse on the device, if you use 2 fingers in the bottom right corner, that does that right click, and it works well like that. Or they can use those same touchscreen controls like they would use on the iPad. So I have had entire classrooms that don't touch a mouse. I just know that as an adult, I need the mouse because it's just not my thing. But kids in general, you give them the device and they're going to run with them. It's a fascinating thing to see in that realm. So those are the really quick ways to capture work in Minecraft from your students in that way. So once I've got that, I can share that, or students can go in there. Roberto, use the lava. Somebody always does. So this is where we would have you turn in your masterpiece, but of course we're not going to do that. We would have students reflect on their builds. Reflection is always a super powerful piece. We took a little bit of a tour of the library inadvertently a few minutes ago, but we're going to take another look at some of the pieces within that library. So the wonderful thing about Minecraft is it's going to save this right where I leave it when I exit out. So when I go out of this world and I hit save and exit, it's going to then keep a copy of that in my library so that I can go back. And you'll see I can find that in View My Worlds. And you can see I've got lots of worlds that I have done on this particular device. View Library is where we will go to find sample and demo lessons, including the Battle of the Boroughs lesson that we're going to talk about. But as I go in, you'll see that we have subject kits. Subject kits are narrowed down by subject and topic, and all of those have lessons underneath them. Some of my favorites I love in the equity and inclusion, the lessons in good trouble. Good friends of mine actually worked on that, and it is a fantastic world. There's some great worlds about different people in history. There are some history and culture lessons that are great, literacy and language, and you guys can spend all sorts of time going through and finding those. There are monthly build challenges, starter worlds. When we go into that, we do have biomes, which give us all of the different biomes in Minecraft if we are looking for a specific feel or kind of theme for our world. But then we also have these build plates, which are great if we want to start with a multiplayer activity for our students, but we want them all to have identical building areas. You'll see that in each of these, each student ends up with a block, and that block allows them to build on it. And it gives each of them the same place. So it's a really great place to start if you're doing just a classroom challenge. Other things in here, we talked about the how to play, and you've got all of those options. When we go back to this home screen, you'll see that we do have the option to create our own new and blank world. We also have the option to join a world, and this is where, when we go into multiplayer, this is where students would go if they are going to join together to work together for the Battle of the Boroughs challenge. And what students will do is they will go into Join World and they will be given a join code. Now, my join code for this tenant is really short. I am certain that y'all's join code for New York City is at least 4 characters. Is that correct, Michael? Yeah, because it's based on the size, the number of people that you have as users in your tenant, and you guys are going to have more than this particular tenant does. So you'll get a code that might be something like Balloon Rail Alex, and students would hit confirm, and that's how they'll join that world. And in a little bit, we're going to actually, Susie and Sean and I are going to join together in a multiplayer world so y'all can see how that works. So we will take that in a moment. And then import is how, if you had a world that you had saved and you wanted to pull in, you could pull that in. So we have all of these options to do the different pieces of Minecraft, and that all comes off of that play section. I do want to point out to you all that you will always see this new and featured. And what's really cool is under new and featured right now is we have your Battle of the Boroughs challenge as one of the top worlds listed there. And these change regularly, but they are always really interesting to see kind of what's being featured at this point in time. And they are always changing under that new and featured button. And then under settings, that's where we can customize and add some accessibility features. The one thing that I do like to point out for folks, because it tends to be a pretty common problem, is you hear from students, or more often from adults, that they can't do Minecraft because it makes them sick. And that's usually because they're using a larger screen, or they're getting a little nauseous. But there is a way to help that. If you go into settings and you go to video, there is this option down here called view bobbing. View bobbing is what makes your head go up and down when you run through Minecraft, and it can be a lot for some folks. So for a lot of people, I suggest that they turn that off. It makes it a little less wobbly, and almost always helps with folks that say, "Oh, I can't do games like that. They make me sick." That's probably the most common piece that I hear from folks, but you'll see that there are all sorts of changes that I can make here. And a lot of these changes here actually deal with how well Minecraft runs on your computers, but you should be in good shape. Something to point out with multiplayer, which is why we can't all join in multiplayer together, is that we all have to be in the same tenant. So we would all have to use the same address or account to access it. You all have New York DOE accounts, so you can join together, and you all have to be in the same version. So you'll see my version number on the bottom is 1.18.45. That is the most updated version. But if Susie were going to join me in a moment and hers happened to be on a newer version, we could not join together. Okay. And if Susie was on her Minecraft account and I was on my NCCE account, we couldn't join together. So we had to find a common tenant, which is why I had to look up my password for this one when I logged myself out. So those pieces are really important. It's a safety thing for our students so that students can't join with random people from outside of your tenant. And it's part of the reason that Minecraft education is such a safe tool for students to use in that way. So keep that in mind, because that's a common question that we get. It's a common issue that we get with folks as they are joining worlds together. So that kind of gives us a walkthrough of all of those introductory pieces of going into the Minecraft game. So now let's pop back here. Not there. Let's go here. Blocks of grass we talked about. We have starter worlds like blocks of grass, and then we have those lesson worlds that we just looked at, ones like the good trouble lesson and other things like that. So you've got a lot of these choices. So I want everybody to take a second and think about a project of some sort that you do in your classroom. How could you possibly take that lesson and have your students build something reflective of that lesson in Minecraft? So think about it, share something. Um, I know one of my first ever lessons that I did with students, and I won't tell you how long ago this was because it was right when Minecraft Education Edition came out. I had my fourth grade students. I was in a STEM enrichment lab at the time doing K-5 STEM, and I had my students build the water cycle and label the parts of the water cycle in Minecraft. And it became such a cool learning experience for them. And y'all, it was such a breath of fresh air over the water cycle poster or diorama projects. Because, everybody, you have to build the water cycle in some way, but building it in Minecraft became such a great option for them. So I'll give y'all just a few minutes to drop that in chat to see what y'all are thinking. Susie, that is one of my favorites. In an intro to business class, teachers using it to create their models of their food trucks and create all of the pieces of that little business. Connecting communities through bridges, Angie, that's great. Because bridge construction in Minecraft is an interesting thing to watch what students come up with, and how they kind of play with the different physics in Minecraft to make their bridge. That's a really great one as well. So while y'all are continuing to do that, I will move ahead. Um, we do talk a lot about the 6 principles of game-based learning when we talk about Minecraft. And those 6 principles, and like I said, you will get this presentation so you can refer to these, but the failure dynamic, it's okay to fail. And one of the things that I love about Minecraft education is kids sometimes get an opportunity to see adults fail in a way that they don't normally get to see, and they see that it's okay. And by going through that failure dynamic, they're taking risks in a safe place and they're learning different ways to deal with that on their own, which a lot of our students really do need that opportunity, right? The flexibility dynamic is giving, there are a lot of ways to do something correctly in Minecraft, and there's not just one right way, right? And that's something that that's a hard thing to teach students. That's a really hard thing to teach our gifted students that always want to be right all the time, right? So giving that opportunity to learn that flexibility is huge. The construction dynamic, to build something that matters, that's one of the things that I love the most about your Battle of the Boroughs challenge, is because students are involved in building something that matters and thinking about how that matters to them and to their communities. So that's a big piece of game-based learning. Situated meaning. So they're learning different forms of vocabulary and different ways of thinking by working through Minecraft. Minecraft is a great way to teach systems thinking, and when we have students working together for a common goal, they build empathy. So those are the principles of game-based learning, and those are some of the ways that Minecraft helps to address them as we go through that. So let's take another check-in. How are you feeling now about using Minecraft in your classroom? So 1 to 10, drop it in the chat. How do you feel about the idea of possibly picking up that build a house challenge and going into it with your students? How does that feel to you now? All right. We definitely have some good numbers again, which I am excited to see. Um, so now let's hop into your Battle of the Boroughs, okay, and look at how that, what the details are of that, and and we'll talk about some common issues that you might run into when supporting your students with this challenge. So we're gonna watch the quick launch video from the mayor, so that for those of you that haven't seen it, you can see that and get a feel. So we'll start there. This is the short video.
This is the greatest city in the world, but we have.
Let's go back to the beginning. I don't know why it's that.
Hey, New Yorkers, I'm Eric Adams, mayor of the city of New York. This is the greatest city in the world, but we have a lot of people with a lot of different needs. New York City is leading the charge in fighting climate change, giving young people like you the tools for a great education and preparing you for the green jobs of the present and the future. We want you to build a city for everyone. I bet you have ideas on how to make that happen in your neighborhood. And now New York schools are partnering with Minecraft so you can build your ideas and share them. If New York City is to remain the city we love, we must have great places for the people we love. Together, let's build a city we're all proud to be a part of. Now it's time to get stuff done and get stuff built.
Oh, and I hit the wrong button. Happy fingers every time.
Sure.
It's going to want to play it. There we go. So the competition has three parts for you all. Your first part is open to everyone K to 12 to build and take their submissions. After that, it'll be narrowed down into your borough competitions. And then part three is that live 5-way championship. And there will be prizes and opportunities throughout for your students. Your challenge prompt is how can we create a safe, connected, resilient, and sustainable borough that moves New York City forward without leaving anyone behind? So, as we go through that, you do have 4 focus areas for your build: safety, connected, resilient, and sustainable. So, as you look at those pieces, those are what we want the students to focus on as they are starting to construct their challenges. The really neat part of this is that students are going to get to spawn in this world in Battery Park, and they're going to get the opportunity to speak with people throughout their journey. So we are going to hop out of the PowerPoint and we are going to hop into that world so that, number one, you can see how to access it and you can see how it looks. And this is where I'm actually going to have Susie and Sean join into the world with me. There are a couple of ways y'all can have your students access the Build Challenge world. The quickest way right now, because it is one of the new and featured worlds, is to go to new and featured and select New York City DOE Reinventing Cities. But then you can also go into Play, go to View Library, and go to Monthly Build Challenges. And it's right here as well. So we're going to select this world. I am going to create my world. And as it is building, we're going to go in and then we're going to get, okay, Eric, that is hilarious because I am currently a little obsessed with that game and cannot stop playing it. So I fully approve that that is your build right now. I have to, yeah, little squirrel moment, but had to jump in on that one.
That's next year's Battle of the Boroughs, Battle of the Spells.
Battle of the Spells. Hey. So as this builds, and this world's going to take just a little bit to pop in, we're going to go in and I'm going to first have Susie and Sean join my world. So they are ready with their logins and we're going to keep our fingers crossed that we can connect from Seattle to New York to Atlanta. And this could be, we're just, waiting on the import. And like I said, this will be faster for you when you are not running teams concurrently. That is always a challenge. This world actually tends to load pretty quickly, all things considered. So we'll get that in. Did we have any other questions in the chat while we were waiting? Oh yeah, and there is. You can also go. There's all the choices. There's one other route to get to the world to go through the sustainability path. But okay, so now it has built my world, and then I can go in and go to view my worlds. No, I go to templates. Did it just crash? It may have just crashed. Let me try that again. There we go. Now it's there. You're seeing this, right, Susie?
Do you want me to invite the two of you?
Why don't we do that? Because apparently, there we go. Now it's in. It was just being really slow.
It was being a funky template, like we were talking about an advisory board yesterday.
That was kind of funny, wasn't it?
Templates are tricky sometimes.
They can be. There we go. And it's funny because I had just been in it too, so that's even more hilarious. But now
and Jeff asks, once you load the New York City thing, I think you mean that world that Mary just loaded, will it always be part of the world? So if you go into my library, depending on if you went through new and featured or you got it in build challenges, when you push create world, it will show up in my worlds. Like how Mary showed us, she could get back to the build a house challenge. And then Jeff, we will definitely address your multiplayer question as soon as we get there too.
Yep. Which is what we're going to do right now. So when I'm ready to host, and I'm going to host from my computer. So my computer is the computer where the world will be saved. So we always have to join from my computer in order for students to continue to access the build unless we have exported the world. So I'm going to go in here and I'm going to select this multiplayer button. And then I'm going to select start hosting. I say confirm. And it's going to generate 3 codes. Now, your code is going to be 4, not 3. Mine is 3 because this tenant only has a few users. And then what Susie and Sean are going to enter is they're going to enter the code fish, Alex, pickaxe. And when they enter that, you'll see that they have come in. We've got 1, Alex 3.
Mary, do you want me to show what it looks like from my end before I join?
If you want to, that would be fabulous. Yes, please.
Yeah, if my computer doesn't implode, it's also very slow.
I'm telling you, teams in Minecraft together is always a show.
Yes. Okay. So, can everybody see this?
I do not see your screen yet, Susie.
Okay, let's give it a second.
There we go. Now I see it.
I see it.
Great. Okay, so if I hit play, I'm going to hit join world. So if I was Mary, I could go find the world that I just opened and view my worlds, but I don't have that world yet because I've never created it. So I'm going to go join Mary's world that she's hosting and then remind me what it was.
Fish, Alex, pickaxe.
Perfect. And if you hover over these, all of your students, if they're not familiar with the icons, can see what they're called. And then I hit confirm.
Call the cake a donut, and children always go, "That's not a donut, Mrs. H." I'm like, I know.
And then I can confirm that that's the world that I want to go into. And some worlds, specifically this one, have resource packs. Those are like fun, fancy items that we've made specifically for the New York world. So I'm going to push download and join. And I should plop right next to Mary and Sean here in a second.
And then there you can see, I'm going to go back to sharing from my screen now that Susie is hopping in. And what you'll see that I can now see is that Susie has entered. So I have all of us in because these are generic counts. We all have the generic Steve and Alex name. And then when I go back in, now I can see Susie. I can see NPC Sean, and I can see Sean in the game as a player. When I enter in, the first thing I am greeted with is this board, and this board gives us the directions for getting started. and I see Sean Arnold in the flesh as an NPC. And when I go in to this world, I can talk to Sean and he says, "Hey, fellow New Yorker, did you see some of the wonderful sights near Battery Park? Feel free to explore some of them. I love living here. We've shown that nothing can keep this city down. We are resilient." When I hit next, I can hear more about the different locations. He talks about Battery Park and gives more information about the challenge. When I say okay, then I can explore. And I will tell y'all that just exploring this world is a fantastic thing to, because it's, it's your city. But it does give me my next step, and you'll see that I get this little breadcrumb trail that tells me what to do next, and it tells me to talk to Mayor Adams. And so when we are ready to build, we talk to Mayor Adams, and greatest city in the world gives us our directions. We hit next. Again, I have that option for immersive reader. We can go through all of that. And then we get the opportunity. We can watch the video again, but we can say, okay. And we return to him when we're ready to begin the challenge. But we can work through here and we can talk to the borough presidents and everybody else. We can talk to the director of sustainability for New York. And then I can also find one of my borough presidents and speak to them as well before I get ready to start. Let's say I have explored, I have found the director of sustainability, I have talked to them. We're talking about more affordable housing, how we can make that open for everyone, and all of those pieces. And there are learn more links you'll notice on those NPCs where we can get more information, and you've got your guide that gives you all of the information about the challenge. But what I love is that you've got these little breadcrumb trails that take you through what you need to do. And then when I'm ready to build, I go back to Mayor Adams. Oh, it may not let me skip this step. So now I hit start challenge. And when I hit start challenge, I can pick a borough president and decide to go and build. This is my final build area, and you will see it is huge, right? That is so much bigger than that final build area we had for that house challenge. And then when I'm ready to build, I go in, I select E, I get my tools. Your students work together and they build it. Now, for Sean and Susie, they both have to speak to Mayor Adams themselves to get to join me in this area. And then they're there. So that's kind of how the world is built. And then we can build in there and create a way. And I see, okay, thank you, Sean. Sean answered Angie about how to talk to the NPCs. When I go up to any of the NPCs, if I am on a computer or using a mouse, I am going to right click on the NPC to talk to them. If I am on a touch screen, I would press and hold, and that hold would allow me to talk to them. And each of your people give you those directions and give you the information you need to continue on in the challenge. So your build plate does allow you to use coding. We had that question earlier. You do have that option. Michael asked, can you build outside of the build plate? And that is a no. Your build plate is the only area that has any blocks that allow you to build on top of them. So
Actually,
that is
in
what?
this space, you can't build over there by Mayor Adams, but you can build in this space by where those other buildings are. There's like little subway tunnels to the side if you want to start with that as a space to build a new subway system. So you actually can build beyond that little gray space in this one. It is all actually fully buildable for this one.
Oh, that's fabulous. So you can build in other places. That's very nice. And then
But you can't break where you were talking in Battery Park to like Eric Adams or anything like that. So
right.
Just in this space where we're in, but yeah, everywhere where the buildings and stuff are, not just on a little gray ground.
That's really cool. I like that. And then students will submit their build by talking to one of the characters through the flip, and then they can return and explore even more. So it gives them a really great option to go through the build challenge in that world. Your important dates for the build challenge: the challenge has already launched. You've got students participating all over New York City, already building some amazing things. It launched on January 30th, and you have until Friday, April 7th for students to submit their initial challenge submissions. And then after that, in the April through June time period, is when you will have the esports events that will be for the finalists and the narrowing down pieces from there. And I see a question about, will you see any other builds of other teams? You won't see that in your world, because your world is only going to be for you. And then is the flip going to be public once they are posted, Susie, or is that a private flip?
It's moderated, so obviously not the moment that the student posts it, but once it's reviewed and made sure it's appropriate and da 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 da, all that kind of stuff, then yes, ultimately you will be able to see them, but not immediately or
Not
initially.
immediately. Yeah. Yeah, it does need to be moderated, right? And I see we've got a question from Jeff about team size. Can you have more than 5 kids working in the same world but broken up into teams, or should it be 5 students per world, 6 students doing it, hope to get more? I would say you want a separate world per team because of the potential for problems if students are together on different teams. But the 5 students for the round 1, you can, Susie, they can have more for round 1, but when it gets to the further rounds, it has to be 5, correct?
Yeah,
Yeah,
essentially. I mean, if you want to work with your whole class together in one world to build and give different students different roles, for example, there's a whole bunch of different things different students can do. So if you want to cycle them through, and some students are researching, and some students are going to be doing the recording, and some are going to be doing the voiceover for it, and some are going to be doing the in-world builds, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. It can be a collective thing. It's just that when it gets to like the live challenges and stuff, it can't be like a team of 30 competing against a team of 5. So
and multiplayer, there's a limit of 40 to be in Minecraft education, which is probably plenty big for all of your class sizes, but it gets kind of laggy. So
Yeah.
definitely recommend smaller than that, but you can have up to 40 in a group. And then Angie had a good question about, can you participate in the build challenge without needing to go to Battle of the Boroughs? Like, yes, of course. Like, students, your entire class can build their solution for a more sustainable borough or New York City. If they are selected to move forward, it could be yours and their decision to move on to the next round for esports, which is really fun. It's just honestly a timed build challenge where students will go head to head against a rubric, similar to what they're just doing in this initial build challenge. So yeah, for sure. And then I would also highlight, Mary, if you talk to Jose's NPC in the world in the build challenge plate, there's actually a link to the flip. So really easy
Yes.
for students to navigate to flip, for them to submit their submission video right from the world. So that's a nice feature that we built into the world this time too.
And we had a question about timeline, and Sean has answered that in the chat as well. The final timeline is that it has to be submitted by April 5th. That's really the hard and fast deadline for you all. But they're also on the website about your challenge, where all of your information is held. You have a ton of teacher resources. There's a teacher guide. There are suggestions for ways that you can do that, and all of those pieces. So you do have that resource as well. And that, I think, is that on our next slide? And so these are the resources that exist in that challenge. And then I've got a link for that, and Michael beat me to it, and there is the link to all of that information for you all. And that is really a fantastic resource for you as you get started, because there are guides for all of the things we've talked about today. So you will go into that piece and have all of those things. You do want to encourage students to work together and go through that process. So we want them to group play, we want them to collaborate, but then we do want them to get down to that. Let's let's explore, let's research, let's figure out what our solution really is. We build it together and then we submit it in Flip and on the form. We talked about those pieces of it. So, what about saving files? Because this becomes a big question and a big problem for students. Because, like I said, I hosted our world. So, our world right now, if Susie and Sean and I had built our project and we were ready to go, it's only right now saved on my computer. So, if I'm sick, or if for something happens and I can't be there when Susie and Sean want to work on it, they can't work in this world. And I think this addresses our question earlier about multiplayer, because this world is only open for Susie and Sean while my computer is in the world and I am playing it. That is the only time they can connect. This is not like the personal edition of Minecraft or the consumer edition of Minecraft, where we can have servers open 24/7. So we have to be joined in together. So then we are in here, but let's say we've built a lot and we've been building for about a week and I don't want to lose my work. What can I do about that? So I am going to actually go in and save and exit. And when I do that, it's going to kick Sean and Susie out of my world. They're not going to be in it anymore because I'm not hosting that world anymore. Okay. And then you'll see once it loads back up, okay, my game is being saved. Get our little save chest icon. Now I see this in my view my worlds. Okay. But that is only saved on this particular device. I always like to make a copy of things after several days of work. And to do that, I would go into manage and I would go to export. And when I export, I get this Minecraft world, a MIC world, and I can save it on my OneDrive. So I'm going to save it here in my Microsoft Education tenant. And I could call this, and a tip that I give to people is I always save it as a version. This is version 1. This is the first time I have saved this world. So that then I have this, so that if, let's say we are building and Susie gets upset, because we know sometimes our students get upset, right? And Susie pours lava over my build. I can always go back to this version and have it. Does that make sense? Or I accidentally, delete a bunch of blocks because I'm a happy clicker and my finger gets stuck. That happens too. I can always go back to that version. And so when I save that, that is that MIC world. It's going to export. You can see, even as big as that world was, that was a pretty quick export, right? And then let's say I'm ready. I want to use that version because we have messed up that version in my world. How would I bring that in? I would go to this import button. I would locate it in my OneDrive and I would say open. Okay. Once I do that, it's then saved again on my computer. But I have to do that export import every time. So know that that is an option and is a way for your students to continue to back up their files, which I think is super important as they're working through that. I always advise that they upload it to some sort of cloud storage, be that OneDrive, be that Google Drive, be that whatever cloud storage that you use, because by doing that, you have that copy backed up in case of a device issue or something happening on that local device. Flip has 2 choices for how your students can submit. You can go directly into that Flip and record using the screen recording feature in Flip. No editing, nothing needed. I can just go in and I can screen record from there. I will tell you that I'm going to show you a little bit of that, but I do know that Flip does not love to share bandwidth with all of the camera use that we have going on here. So it's going to look a little different, but when we go into Flip, and I'm actually going to just go into my regular Flip for now, which means it's going to want me to authenticate, which is fine. Got to use my face. So when we go into Flip, um, and this is what the teacher view and student view would look like, but we'll say that we're in the Flip. We've said submit a new Flip. We go into our camera. It's going to love this for a minute, but that's okay. So we get the option to, I'm going to turn off my camera here, so you're going to miss me for a second. I go into Flip, and Flip loads up just like this, okay? I can record my video by hitting this record button. But what students can do that makes this a little easier for them is they can actually do a screen recording in Flip. So in order to do, and it's really not loving life right now, I can have my screen be my backdrop by pressing this button, and it's going to ask me, do I want a Chrome tab, do I want a window, and we're just going to use the slideshow for PowerPoint to be my background for now, so you can see what that looks like. And it's actually recording my screen as I talk, and it's making this video. And then when I go back to my Flip, you saw that it was in my background. I would have had to hit record to start that, but I can record in that way and submit it for my video. But the other option that I have, let's say our students have recorded a video using screen recording, and they've added titles and all of that video magic in, say, iMovie on the iPad, or they've added it to, one of their myriad of video editing softwares. In the Flip, I can also upload the video by using this upload button in the corner. So I would hit upload, I would navigate to my final video, and I would put that in. And that's how I would add that video to the Flip. They both work in the same way. Those guides are also found for you on your resource page, and Flip works really easily with Minecraft. It really is one of the easiest tools to use while you're using Minecraft. A couple of, and that was the wrong button again, a couple of common challenges that we run into and we talk a lot about when we're using multiplayer challenges like your build challenge. Minecraft doesn't open. If they are clicking on the file, make sure Minecraft is installed on the device that they are using and that they don't have 2 installs of Minecraft on their device. If students say, hey, I need to see those controls again, you know how we had those touchscreen controls? F1 will bring that back, because students a lot of times on their keyboard will hit F1 instead of escape accidentally and make those controls take it away. When students can't find their world, the most common time that this is going to occur is because a student is using a different device than they started on. That is almost always what happens. Or let's say Susie goes to open the world that we just were in together. Susie can't find it on her device because she was not the lead student. So I always had students, I had them record somewhere, if it were in a OneNote notebook or if it were on just a Post-it note, even, like it could be analog, that's okay. But who was the lead student and who was working with those students and which device were they using? Because you always want students to use the same device for their build. So students have problems with messing up their worlds. They accidentally overclick. That's where that save and export is going to be so important for them. So have those backup copies. I usually say, like, at any point where a student would be uncomfortable with losing the amount of work that they have done, I really want them to save again. So sometimes for younger elementary students, that might be after every build session. Like if they've spent 30 minutes, that's an eternity to them, right? For older students, sometimes it's every couple of days, but make sure you're having students make those backup copies, because you don't want them to get frustrated and not continue with the challenge because they've lost work or they've had an accidental build destroying kind of thing. I think I think it's a helpful tool. It's a helpful way to do that. So as we go into wrapping up, we do have some opportunities for you to learn more. You do have until tomorrow, in fact, to register for your March Minecraft Teacher Academy that is specific for New York City Public Schools. You can register for that at the diit.nyc/cert apply. That is Wednesday evenings throughout March. And that will take you through parts of what a little bit of a refresher of what we did today, minus the Battle of the Boroughs information, but you will also get the opportunity to go through Minecraft 201 and 301 and become a Minecraft certified teacher. So we do encourage you, if you are interested, it does close tomorrow at 4 o'clock. So if you want to register for it, go ahead and get into that. If you are someone that likes to learn on your own, you do have the opportunity to complete the courses for the Microsoft Certified Teacher through Microsoft Learn. And that link I will pop in the chat as well for you. And then you have that option as something that you can participate in. So those are two ways that you can become a Minecraft certified teacher. Other things we like to encourage you to do. Susie, do you mind dropping those in the chat? Sorry. I thought it
Yeah,
was
of
going to
course.
cooperate with me, but my computer's not liking the multitasking at the moment. It's like, I'm done, people. So you can go to education.minecraft.net, and there is a robust community there. There are a ton of lessons that aren't in the lesson library, but that you can explore that may be a great fit for your classroom. Great resources on esports, computer science, and Minecraft student ambassadors are there as well. And we encourage you to join that community. There is a Minecraft education newsletter that I selfishly think is a really fabulous piece of information for you to get. And you can subscribe to that at aka.ms/MCE newsletter. And as you go through your journey with Minecraft, if you are interested in becoming a Minecraft Global Mentor, that is an application-based process that you can participate in after you complete the Minecraft Teacher Academy. So it is definitely a worthwhile community. I have enjoyed my time in that community immensely, and it has given me a lot of great resources and connections and really great ideas of ways to use Minecraft with my students and within my district. So I encourage you, if this is something that you are interested in, to be a part of that.